Hello, musically upgraded tubers, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy 1 Randomized with me, BlueAnkylo. I decided in between episodes to change the soundtrack up a little bit. As much as I love the NES tunes, they're a little bit short and repetitive for Let's Play, especially the way I was running it, because it wasn't matched up to the game music so much, or the map you were on, or the screen you were on. So what I decided to do was switch out with the Final Fantasy Origins soundtrack, which is the same songs but remixed up, and they're a little bit longer, a little bit more varied, I suppose. I'm a huge fan of the soundtrack as well, so nothing wrong there. And then on to the topic of the game. We're going to begin our adventures in the Marsh Cave, which is usually a pretty dangerous area. Trying to decide what spell slots I want to use and what spell slots I want to hold on to. It would have been quite nice if we could have brought that Fire 2 staff that we saw in the one of the shops, because that would make a lot of these random encounter groups a lot quicker, or a lot cheaper in terms of resources, because we could just cast Fire 2 for free, essentially, at that point. I generally don't recommend fighting the yellow oozes down here. They basically take, essentially, they've got huge defense, so unless you've got a really good physical weapon, you probably won't do any damage to them unless you use magic. Ice is the correct element, if I remember correctly, so the fact that we've got Ice 2 down here is fine. I should fight a couple of these battles normally, just so you can see if they do anything. I mean, we're kind of avoiding a lot of the randomization effects by just being able to wipe everything out with Nuke. So I want to take at least a second in every dungeon to just sort of experiment with the enemies down here for a bit. They should all have randomized stats, and some of them will have randomized special attacks and stuff, so you never know when you're going to find something interesting. Now, this specific room in this dungeon is usually skipped, because there's nothing here that's worth anything in the normal vanilla game. But in the Randomizer, that is not always true. So we've got Opal Armor. We can't even equip it yet, but it's the second best fighter armor, or upgraded fighter armor in the game. It's pretty good. Gargoyles tend to get lots of attacks, but not a lot of damage. At least not against fighters. Let's keep a move on. And I'm just gonna run from scums because, you know, it's fine. To be honest, most of the time when I was playing this game, the vanilla version, I just run from almost everything when you're in the middle of a dungeon. The more you fight, the more you strain your resources, running out of heal potions and magic spell slots and all that. A lot of times it's better to just avoid the fighting as much as you can. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell for this room, there's a few treasure chests in here that were empty in the vanilla game, and I think they stay empty in the randomized. I don't know if it's possible to add items to these, or if it was impossible, but there's a lot of treasure rooms that I just sort of blank out of my head automatically because I know there's nothing in them. So if you wonder why I'm not fully exploring the area, sometimes it's just because I know intrinsically that the chests are always empty there. And I think even in the randomization run, a lot of that stays the same for whatever reason. Alright, well, we're almost through the Marsh Cave. It's not really a long dungeon. It has a bad reputation because you usually come here at a low level and it's the first difficult area of the game. But realistically, it's not that dangerous, especially if you've got Nuke. But even if you didn't have Nuke, normally by this point in the game, you'd have Fire 2, Lightning 2, Ice 2. So you'd still be pretty strong. And even our physical weapons, like the Fighter and the Red Mage, they would normally have Silver Swords, which are probably just as good as what they've got. So we're not really much stronger, except for Nuke and Cure 4, which you may have noticed I'm not using. So I don't feel like I'm super cheating here. Well, I'm never cheating, I'm just... It's not that much different than vanilla. Well, we're not even that much higher level. I usually come to the Marsh Cave at level 10 to 12, so we've got a couple extra level ups, but nothing special. And that's just because we had to run through Crescent Lake. Now we're fighting a boss in Origins. Some new sound... there are some new tracks from the remake, in case you didn't know. This is one of them. So yeah, a lot of treasure is just garbage. The Randomizer does a better job at making them worth checking, but unfortunately a lot of them are just trash. But we did find the opal armor, so I can't really complain. So long as they give me one good piece of loot, it was worth checking the chests. I would feel bad if I missed the opal armor. So this is a room of 4x4 treasure rooms. The bottom 4 are all locked, so there's nothing you can do. And this is the dangerous one, so probably a good time to heal up if you're at any risk. And we could use the magic, but potions are cheap. Alright, we got 4. I think 5 is the maximum for this group. Maybe 6. I think 5 is the largest you'll probably ever see. Wizards are more like illithids or mind flayers. And I don't think they actually cast any magic, unless the randomizer gave them some magic. But regardless, we've got Nuke. Normally you'd want to use, I think, lightning on them. They're resistant to fire and ice, if I remember correctly. Luckily, Nuke is non-elemental. Or, it has an element, it's just... Final Fantasy 1 is kind of weird with its elements. Anyway, Nuke is overpowered, so there you go. You can never run from those battles, so if you run into those further on in the game, you'll have to fight them out. We got the key out of there. That's actually really fortunate. So that is the Mystic Key. Usually, you get the crown in this treasure chest, and it's basically a trading quest to get to the key eventually, but now we just get the key immediately and skip all of that. So that's pretty cool. And seeing as we got the key while we were here, it means we can explore these doors. Now, you won't even get to test it, but these doors, I checked them with A, are normally locked, but we can just walk right in. It means we'll have to fight a few more wizards. Let's see if we can fight them physically. Not very well. Oh, they got poisoned today. They don't usually poison you. Okay, so, my luck continues strong. Yeah, the floater is pretty good. Usually you have to do the ice cave to get that, and that's quite a ways away. So, good fortune for all, especially blue. That will, essentially cause a huge sequence break. I'll try not to abuse it too badly, but, yeah, we can do whatever we want at that point. I'm still gonna probably go through the dungeons in order, even though I could do them backwards at this point. I actually could fight all the 4 fiends in reverse order easily. But we won't do that. We'll go through the dungeons as sort of expected, because the difficulty ramps up sort of linearly, and if you do them backwards, then the last dungeon will be so easy. I mean, we'll just be on autopilot the whole way. You know, like if we save the Lich for last, it would just be silly, so we won't do that, even though we sure could. Alright, one more. Last chest of the dungeon. We got some green snacks. And everything likes getting nuked as far as I can tell. I can't believe we got a level 1 nuke. I was joking about how it might happen. You saw me! You saw me generate the seed. This was not a preset, I knew this was going to happen kind of thing. So the Bane Staff... Normally you get a Bane Sword that casts Bane for free near the end of the game. Bane is like poison attack on the entire group, enemy group that could kill them all in one hit. Could being the operative word. Anyway, normally you wouldn't have exit here. I have exit. Why not? Alright, so seeing as we got the floater, the priority is to go deal with the floater. Now, we also have the Mystic Key, which opens up a bunch of stuff. But the floater takes priority. And if you've never played Final Fantasy 1, you'll know what I mean probably in 5 minutes. I'm being coy. What a fun adventure. I kind of wish, as much as like true randomness is pretty fun, I kind of wish there was an option to make the randomness less guaranteed sequence break. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't want true randomness if I had it my way. I want like random but still structured so there's a little bit of progression to it rather than here, start with Nuke and the floater. Because it kind of breaks a lot of the game by starting with all the end game equipment and weapon magic and stuff. Oops, I don't even know what I cast. Ice 2, totally by accident. Doesn't matter. Oh, these are XPeeds. Those are usually just peeds. I don't know why they're XPeeds today. Alright, they're actually, like, relatively strong. They've got probably 300 HP, give or take. They're no match for Nuke. Or double Nuke. I can't believe we have double Nuke. Red mages are not supposed to learn Nuke. Alright, so you know this suspicious-looking little desert here? This is where you want to use the floater. And, surprise, you get the airship. So we have the airship before we have the normal ship. Not that I'm complaining. But, yeah, now we can go wherever we want. Which is pretty good, you know. That's the Gurgu or Gurugu volcano for the Fire Fiend. The ice caves over here. Usually you get the floater from there. So, because we had the canoe, I could have come here and assumedly got the floater, but it would have been a more difficult dungeon than the Marsh Cave. We'll have to go back to Astos' castle eventually. Because we've got the Mystic Key, there's actually quite a few things we could do. So let's start from the beginning, and let's use the key where we can use the key for today. We can go to any town we want now, which is ridiculous. So this is our first Mystic Key locked treasure. Like, you just have to take... Oh, that's okay. We don't even need it now. That's completely worthless. But yeah, these doors you could not have entered at the beginning of the game. The the ruby is a blocking... It's an item that opens a path. I'll show that off eventually, but it's completely pointless if you've got the well, it's not... I wouldn't say 100% worthless, but once you've got the airship, you've basically... You can avoid the area the ruby lets you enter. I'm just gonna speed through this stuff real fast. You never know what you're gonna find in these chests in Randomizer, so I wanna... Oops. I just want to check before I forget, because these chests by the Chaos Shrine are some of the ones that are locked. These are the locked doors that I probably forget about the most often when I was playing normally. Just because the items in here were not really worth it in the vanilla game, and you have to kind of backtrack to get here, so why would you bother? And we didn't really get anything today either, but you never know. We could have got lucky. Alright, between eggs and the airship, things are going to go pretty quick from here on out. The next stop might as well be the Dwarf Cave. So, this is another door that's locked. This is he needs TNT to open the canal. But joke's on him, we can just fly right over it. Some money, doesn't hurt. Pro Cape is really good, actually. That's a very, very good drop. Show that off in a second. Ice armor, nothing wrong there. Silver shields. Alright, we're getting some good stuff. So the protective cape is the only shield slot item that your mages can equip. And it's pretty good. So 16 absorb up to 24. So that's plus 8 absorb compared to the buckler that gave the red mage 2 and that the white and black mage couldn't equip anyway. So, yeah. Pro Cape is really good. Usually there's only 2 in the entire game. We'll see what happens with the randomizer. Oops, what happened? Otherwise, we've got... Oh, I've got another gold bracelet, don't I? I've had that for a while. I forgot to equip it. Oops. So the ice armor is going to be better than the silver bracelet for the fighter, although we can't equip the opal armor. Actually, I'm just curious if the red mage can equip it. No. Only fighters. Fighters can equip stuff nobody else can. So, gold, opal, silver. I need 1 more gold for the black mage. Otherwise, we're doing fine. We can sell the iron helmet. Silver shield is worse than the ice shield, so no point dealing with that. And then weapon-wise, I wonder... Power Staff does nothing, but it is a weapon, so at least the black mage can have a weapon equipped finally. Alright, that's fine. Let's get out of here. Alright, while we're close, we don't have the crown that Astos wants, but joke's on him, we can steal his treasure early. Usually, you would have to drop the crown off before you have access to the Mystic Key, but not today. Dragon armor, best armor in the game for the fighter. Tail, pretty fortuitous find. And some cloth that we don't want anyway. Well, I don't know how much better things could get for us. The tail is one of the other progression blocking items. Not progression, but Well, you'll see. I'd probably go do that right away, actually. Money. Money. What else can they give us? They gave us everything already. It's fine. A bunch of money is no problem. They gave me everything I could possibly want. So, the dragon armor I said was the best armor in the game. We can't equip it yet. Let's go deal with that. Seeing as we can use the airship, and we got the tail, there's a bunch of islands up here. Let me just show that off. We're up here in the north on this sort of archipelago. And if we go to this island specifically, big long tunnel, bunch of dragons. Hey dude, as long as you've got the tail, you get promoted. Everyone's promoted. Congratulations. The earlier you get that, the better in terms of magic resistance or magic defense. So picking that up at a low level is actually really good. I think in the vanilla game, everyone except Black Belt, but in the randomizer, everyone gets improved magic defense on level up when you're in your promoted class. Otherwise, it doesn't change too much, other than it changes what you can equip, which is certainly not a bad deal. So now the fighter can equip the dragon armor or the opal armor. They have the same defensive stats, which are both really good. Plus, dragon armor gives him half damage from fire, ice, and lightning, which is really good. It actually might be all elements even. I'm not 100% on that. Okay, we're doing fine. I mean, sheesh. Just this episode went from playing around in the marsh cave to getting basically end of the game stuff. My goal was not to, like, bypass the entire game and go straight to the end here, although this is kind of what's happened. What I'll do is, because we're on these islands, I'll explore them while I'm here, or else, if I don't do that, I'll forget about it. The small island doesn't have anything either, right? Usually it's not a very big deal to explore these, it's just a bit of money and stuff, but in the randomizer, you never know. Iron armor does not matter. Maybe we'll find a ribbon or something. That's one of the few things left that we need. Silver bracelet doesn't matter. We could drop cheap stuff to sell more expensive stuff. It's not that big a deal. The flame sword should be better than the silver axe. 42.65 up to 43.75. That'll give him 3 attacks per turn. Fighting an Ocho or Oko. What do you guys call them? Okos? I've never had to say the word out loud before. We're just blasting through this now. It's great. A bit of money. Bit of money. Fire 2 staff. So that's a free one of the ones we could have bought. Basically, it was just the same as the mage staff. Because there is a staff that casts Fire 2 anyway. So it's just the mage staff, but named differently. Now, I should be careful on these islands. This is, again, a huge jump in enemy difficulty by coming up here. So theoretically, we could get into a fight where we would die, but I'm pretty confident in my nuking. Sun Sword, well, that's traditionally the best weapon that the Red Wizard can equip. So I might as well go with it. That's his sort of class best, other than the Mazmune. So that's pretty good. Alright, so that's all the islands. We've got over here, somewhere over here. This is the desert. I'm just off. What am I looking for? Oh, it's northwest. I always forget the layout here. Just to show you some spots. This is the Castle of Ordeals, which is usually where you get the tail that lets you get promoted. So we skipped all that for now. This is the, what's the name of this thing? Tower. It's got a fancy name. Mirage Tower, I think. It's the final 4th Fiend area. You know what? I just finally noticed. I should have positioned my 4 Fiends on the screen in relation to their spots on the map. You would have put Tiamat in the top right, Carrie in the bottom right, Lich in the bottom left, Kraken in the top left. Ah, I messed it up. I lose all my nerd points. So welcome to, what's the name of this place? Onrak? Gaia, sorry, Gaia. Onrak's the water town. They sell lots of magic that I probably won't care about. Yeah, like a level 7 slot for Fire 2, I don't really care right now. Level 7 slot for Mute or Lamp, neither of those are going to make much difference. I am going to kind of zip through these towns kind of fast. Nothing here is really worth it. Flame Shields is about equivalent to the Ice Shield, just different elemental protection. And the Dragon Armor covers it anyway, so it doesn't matter. I will not sell the Ice Armor, because I think... No. I thought maybe the Red Wizard would be able to equip it, but that was wrong. If you promote the Thief goes from not being able to equip Ice Armor to being able to equip it, so that's the thing for him. Alright, let's free up a little bit of inventory space here. Sorry, Opal Armor, he'll never get worn. Silver Bracelet we don't need. Silver Bracelet we don't need. Ice Armor we don't need. Silver Shield we don't need. Alright, don't sell the valuable, rare stuff that you can't buy more of, but... Okay, next shop. Weapons. Weapons are us. We get... a Stop Axe. That's probably not very good. There's our Silver Sword finally. It kind of end of the game. Flame Sword's nice, but we're already doing better than all that anyway. We've already got one, I guess. Silver Axe we don't need. It's nice that the items that cast magic just have capitalized names, so it's pretty easy to tell if you want to hold on to them. I'm just going to sell it because Bane is not a very good spell anyway, and I just want the money right now. I'll hold on to Fire 2 because that's a bit more useful as a on-use item. Although it's not that great. Alright, so my mages are still really slow on weapons, but they're okay. This is level 8 magic shop. Usually the best spells in the game, theoretically, but not so much today. And level 8 black magic. Lightning 3 will probably pick up. That's the only place we're going to get multi-target lightning element, so it's kind of a good idea. Nothing in the item shop here. There's only a couple more towns to do, so we might as well just get them out of the way. This is the waterfall. We'll check that out later. There's also a caravan, and I always like to use this little exploit. You can land. Usually you can't land in the desert, but this one little tile you can, because it's the oasis. And it sells a crystal, which we'll buy. One of. No point buying a ton of them. And with that, we'll go back to Matoya, because that's a quest item, and we'll see what she gives us. But while we're running around, we might as well stop by. I think this is on rack up here, up the river. The water town. Oh, look, an Ankylo! And you guys wonder where I got my name from. Look how tough they are, lasting 3 rounds of combat. 4 rounds of combat. I couldn't use Nuke on my namesake. Anyway, they don't really give you much gold, but they're good for experience. Buy some more houses. A bunch of mermaid people living here. No weapons and armor, but we can get some more level 7 magic, maybe. Harm 3 and soft. Actually, having... the soft spell is such a tease. It seems like a good idea to have a castable reverse stone effect, but for the price of the soft potions that cure stone, you'll never spend 17,000 gold in soft potions, ever. Harm 3 is okay. We'll maybe buy that eventually. Hold is pretty bad. Zap is instant death, and pretty good chance of instant death. But I'm not terribly worried about that right now. Yeah, this is one of those towns that's easy to skip, because they don't really have anything valuable in it. So, I wouldn't make a huge fuss over going to that town. Alright, now seeing as the Ankylos are so strong, we better nuke them. If I ever made a Final Fantasy 1 mod, it would be just all Ankylos everywhere. I'd add a BlueAnkylo, and I'd give it probably the same stats as a War Mech. And they'd come in groups of 4. Alright, so this is the town that I forgot about. Melmond. We could have... Normally you come here a lot earlier on, of course. So, weapon shop. You can just straight up buy katanas here. If we had a ninja, that might be nice, but otherwise... I don't think the knight can even equip them, so unfortunately not so good. Now the question is, I think the Sun Sword is better than the Flame Sword, but I don't know if the Vorpal Sword is. I'm gonna buy one. I'd never use it. 90% of the time, I would never use it. So let's compare quick stats. 44-78, 50-88. So yeah, the Sun Sword would be an improvement one way or the other, but 50-88 to... That's pretty bad, actually. Unless it does the Snicker Snacker beheading auto kill it's probably not worth it. So I wasted a little bit of money there, no big deal. We can sell the Flame Sword, we can sell the Vorpal Sword, and we'll buy another Sun Sword. Usually those are unique. Normally you can only get one Sun Sword. But we'll go with 2 Sun Swords, because why not? And to the armor store. Age of Shield, best shield in the game. So this is probably Zeus Gauntlets, and then rejiggered to dark. And this is either the white or black shirt, and instead of invisibility or ice 2, switch to slow 2. Let me just think for a second here. We definitely want the Age of Shield. You know, the sad thing is, I haven't found a single store that sells Protect Rings. And that's going to be a real pain, actually. Protect Rings are what prevent instant death attacks on you, and none of the armor shops sell them. So that's one of our weaknesses here. But yeah, the Age of Shield is statistically the same as the Opal Shield, except it gives you protection from stone, and in Final Fantasy 1, maybe also some other status elements, so it's pretty good. Well, that's kind of a shame about the Protect Rings. Do I want the Opal Helmet? Yeah, I totally do. Usually that's a unique item as well, but for whatever reason you can buy them for 2,000 gold here. So that's a top tier armor for helmet. I don't have a gauntlet equipped on the fighter. Usually you'd go with a Protect Ring, but we didn't find any. Usually you'd give a Protect Ring to everyone, and we didn't get them. So that sucks. I'll have to buy something for the fighter, at least, for a gauntlet. I guess this. It's probably the Zeus Gauntlet. I'll just check it out. So, we're looking at 66 and 56. And we equip that. 66, 56. So plus 6 absorb. It's not bad. It's not as good as a Protect Ring. And anything else? I think I'll buy this. I'm not sure if it's the white or the black. It's the black. If it was white, I think... Yeah, the white mage can't equip it, so it's the black version. And it will be better than a silver bracelet in that case. So I got a little bit lucky there. 24 up to 33. It's the same as a gold bracelet, if I remember correctly. Except a little bit heavier. Alright, so we're looking... Other than the Protect Rings, we're doing well. Everyone's got gold bracelet tier gear. But we're missing the Protect Rings, and that's about it. I think the Protect Cape might count as status protection, but I wouldn't count on it. Spells. Well, Heal 3 is not bad. The best multi-target healing spell in the game. The rest of the stuff I'm probably not going to worry about much. Fog 2 is okay. It gives you some armor. Black Magic. I like to have Warp. It's kind of like Exit, except not as good. And the rest of the stuff's not very powerful. So the Red Wizard can just get, hopefully, Heal 3. Oh, he can't learn it. Dang it. That would be like the only level 5 spell that would be really valuable for him. It's fine. We got our good spells early in the game. We don't need them anymore. Alright, well, there's a couple things to do quickly before we go to the next dungeon. Seeing as we got a crystal, we may as well drop that off. See what we get. So she gives us TNT. This is really valuable. So, thanks, Matoya. I'll turn it in just for fun, but say goodbye to your nice little land bridge. And we got a Quake armor, huh? Let's go play some first-person shooter. It didn't actually open the canal either. Interesting. Alright, let's get out of here. My nemesis, time-wasting wolves. So the Quake armor is almost certainly the white armor. So it's going to be worse than the Opal bracelet, tied with the gold bracelet. And, what was I going to say? But the ability to cast Quake for free is okay. I don't think the Red Wizard can equip it, but I've never tried, no. So Quake on demand, you know, whatever. You play some other video games. Okay. I'm gonna give the Fire Staff to the White Mage. Because if anyone wants to do a free spell, you know, the black mage and the red mage have pretty good magic, and then the fighter can just smash things. But the white mage can't really do any damage normally. The other thing we can do, quickly that is thanks to the airship and the ruby. We did get the ruby, right? Yeah, this is one of those early items we got. So the Titan here really loves rubies. And you can see we moved him. Normally he's kind of to the right, so we would be able to sneak by to the treasure room below. But we selected the option in the randomizer that moves him so that you can't pass through either direction without having the ruby. So that's just a nice little touch. Just to help with the randomizer for making the ruby worth something instead of being completely pointless. Iron Gauntlet. Ice Swords. I mean, not what we need. Stop Axe is probably the light axe, I'm gonna guess. So instead of casting Harm 2, we get the Stop spell. Sun Swords are better than Ice Swords, and that's all that. Well, let's stop by and say hello to Sarda. And then we're basically done our overworld adventure, I think. After this, it's time to pick a dungeon, basically. Now, I'm not even sure if he's going to give us anything. I disabled the free gift, so he probably won't do anything. Yeah. So you could have him give a quest item depending on your randomizer options, but I turned that off. Well, because I expected to get the airship and have to, like, normally you can't get here until you do half of the Earth Cave, which is right here. You beat up the vampire, you get the ruby, then you can go through this cave, talk to Sarda, get the rod, and then go back. So I turned off the freebie item because if you have an airship, you just skip all that. I guess that's probably it. I opened up all the doors. I've got the rod. So the Earth Cave is the next dungeon. If you don't have the rod, you can't finish the Earth Cave anyway. But seeing as we got this from someone, we may as well do that dungeon. And it's the next one in order anyway. Usually, after the Marsh Cave, you would do the Earth Cave. We just happened to go pick up the airship, the promotion, and weapons and armor from across the world. So that's pretty good. It's quite likely that I'll have to travel back to some towns later on to purchase some weapons that I couldn't afford the first time I saw them and forgot about. Plus, I want to fill out our magic roster a little bit better. Although, we've got the important spells, so we're pretty much okay. Anyway, let's call this an episode. And next time, we will clear out the Earth Cave and deal with our first elemental fiend. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you've enjoyed, and see you next time.